Live. Let me start sharing. Okay, I think we're live. Hello everyone. If you can see us, just press yes in the chat so I know that you can see us and hear us as well. Yeah, and welcome to the Ignite STEM Design Challenge. I'm just gonna wait a few more seconds just so I can get some yeses on the chat so I would know that we are ready to go. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of yeses. So we're going to be using the chat in general for moderation, just so we know what's happening because we're presenting. While we're on the stage, try to use the stage chat as much as possible. We'll try to keep the event chat towards your right slightly clean so we can post important updates there, and we'll keep pinning the messages. But use the stage chat for anything happening on the stage, and if you want to spam it, feel free to do so. Like, this is your chance to say whatever you want. But yes, welcome everyone, and I'm going to let Nastasia take over for a few more slides.
Oh wait, do you want to change the slide?
Yes.
Okay, so like Arian said, welcome everyone. We're really excited to have you here. We have like a very action-packed day planned, so we can't wait for it. Next slide. Okay, so just a disclaimer, we're also students. We totally understand that opening ceremonies are usually long and kind of boring, so we're going to try and keep this short and as interactive as possible.
Yeah, like heavy note on that, we will try to keep the opening ceremony as fun as possible because I also personally used to hate opening ceremonies when I was in high school. So just want to do a quick poll. Anna, could you have the poll running?
Oh yeah, and then to access the poll, go to event and then click on poll.
Interesting. I'm learning that. I didn't know that's how you access polls. That's interesting. I think it's way too early, personally. I'm at 10 a.m. Yeah, I thought it was generally early, but also you don't want to, since we're doing 10 to 4:30, it's kind of hard to like push it further than do 11 to 5:30. Seems like people, okay, 50% of votes, I'm up by this time anyways. I'm not up by 10 a.m. I usually get up by 11 a.m. You can just see that I've recently woken up. And then we've got 26%, it's early, but it's worth it, which is pretty cool. Okay, let's move on. I will talk very briefly about what Ignite STEM was, just so everyone has some context on what we're doing here. Ignite STEM is a club for Princeton University, where under the branch umbrella club called the Entrepreneurship Club, one of the like 13 or 12 clubs or so. And we used to focus on K-12 STEM educators. So we used to put on conferences, professional development conferences for educators. So the center picture you see, that's an example from our Philly conference. The picture you see to the right, bottom right, is from our Princeton conference. Top left is a New York conference, and so on and so on. And really the focus was we would invite about 150 to 100 teachers to each of our conferences. That's the limit we would put on each conference. People would come, attend the workshops, listen to a few speakers, and do a bunch of hands-on like learning workshops and experiments. And then they would go back with the hack in a box thing that tells educators how they can implement everything that they just learned in their own classroom. So really our focus was on teachers and educators, and we had no intentions of doing anything for students. But then we were in 2020, the pandemic hit, and a bunch of stuff started going well, going wrong. Just a bunch of different stuff started happening. We had the pandemic, we had a shortage of toilet paper, we had TikTok become really famous. People started making banana bread. Zoom became famous. Suddenly, all of a sudden, I had no idea what it even was. Everyone was talking about Tiger King. Timothy Chalamet was also suddenly a thing now, and elections happened. Very ambiguous, but yes, elections happen, and everyone everywhere was also talking about Elon Musk and Tesla. So basically like a very weird year for everyone, and we realized that there's a bunch of wild things happening in 2020, but we also wanted to get your inputs on the chat. Could we have a few people just put up some of the wildest things to happen in 2020, and I can highlight some of those for you. Okay, I guess no one has any wild recommendations for 2020, or maybe I'm just checking the state chat instead of the event chat. Let me try going to event chat and seeing if people have any recommendations. Okay, virtual learning. That makes sense. Yeah, virtual learning was definitely from a teacher's perspective, virtual learning was definitely the wildest thing to happen. Oh, murder hornets was a good one. I totally forgot about that. And masks was a good thing. Being stuck in quarantine without seeing people until May. Yes, absolutely. COVID. Absolutely. Donald Trump being impeached twice. Okay. Capitol raid, riots. Kobe died. The Capitol. Someone got their driver's permit. Congratulations on that. Virtual school, anarchy, vaccines. Okay, a lot of suggestions. Okay, clearly a lot of stuff happened. I guess the point of this like fun little chat thing was for everyone to realize that we were putting up conferences for teachers, and then 2020 happened, and needs changed for everyone. Needs changed for different societies, different stakeholders across the world, and we realized that the most pressing thing for the teaching community, for the STEM community, was not to put on conferences for teachers, but to facilitate student-teacher interaction during a year of virtual learning, and also student-student interaction, because it was just really difficult for people to get some kind of interaction, social thing going on outside the context of all the virtual classes you're taking, because you're not really getting a chance to meet people, meet your friends, be in person together, etc. So that's where we landed, and then we were wondering, well, how exactly do we do this kind of new thing? How do we pivot away from conferences, and what's the best way to facilitate this kind of interaction? And that landed us to design challenges, and Nastasia can take over now for me.
Yeah, so like Arian said, design challenges felt like the best way to connect students with teachers, and just everyone with each other. And yeah, so just really quickly, we'll go over what a design challenge is. So a design challenge is all about diving deeper into the creative thinking process in order to solve real world problems. So on the slide, you can see like one potential way that this process can work, and it's super iterative, right? So you just keep doing it over and over again. And we just want to say that the point of this competition isn't necessarily who can come up with the best answer or anything like that. We just want to encourage participants to utilize human-centered design thinking. And then throughout the day, you'll spend time like with your teammates, kind of like ideating, empathizing, prototyping over and over again. And we're really excited to see what you do.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay, so for the big reveal, we haven't revealed the prompt before, but our official prompt for this competition is: natural disasters can be incredibly destructive to property, even if everyone gets out of harm's way. If we had to build more houses, buildings, and complexes in high-risk areas, how would you design structures to be maximally storm resistant? So looking at this prompt, you can tell it's like a little bit vague. Like obviously storm can mean a lot of different things. But yeah, the point is so that way you guys can like work together to kind of figure out what specific part of the problem you want to target, and then like work together to solve it.
Yep. And one quick note on the prompt: we are gonna hold the slide for maybe 3 seconds, 4 extra seconds, and just shut down. Write it down or take a screenshot, probably a screenshot, like a picture or something, because you will need it. And we've put the word storm in bold just so people don't get off track. And we'll go through the prompt, obviously, in more detail, but we just want to front load this. Don't start working on the prompt or anything specific to Design Challenge now. We have tons of workshops and time for that. Just take some time before we get into it, but just want to highlight the prompt here. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to move on, Nastasia.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, okay, so this is a screenshot of the schedule from the main reception, so you can totally access it by going to the reception page and scrolling down. But looking at all of this text is a little bit boring, because you guys can just check it out yourselves. So instead, we want to highlight some of the other things, some of the main things during the day. But yeah, we want to emphasize that you should attend as many things as you feel comfortable. It's super fun. There's no risks, just like benefits. But yeah, so first, the main thing we want to highlight is the first big event is the ideation workshop at 11:15 following, well, the first one's the keynote speech, but after that, the first one where it's going to be participation-based is the ideation workshop at 11:15 a.m. And then session 1 at 12:30 p.m. So definitely try to be there for sure.
Yeah, just to highlight these two sessions, everything on the schedule is important, but the reason we have these two things put up is to tell you that the ideation workshop is where you will know how to proceed with like session 1, session 2. So it's really pointless thinking about the prompt beforehand, because you really want to know, like, you just don't want to waste your time thinking about something that's not even going to be applicable for our deliverables. And session 1 is where you actually start work on the prompt that we had just revealed a few slides ago.
Next one. Yeah, okay, so session 1 is where you'll define the problem. It might be unclear to you guys yet what exactly we mean by that, just because the ideation workshop will go more in detail about that. But basically, this is where you'll work with your team to brainstorm problems and narrow down the scope. So are you talking about tornado buildings? Are you talking about like cars in hurricanes? It's unclear, but you can totally, this is where you kind of decide that with your team and use different platforms to brainstorm. And the next is, or an earthquake, anything. And then next is session 2, where you'll ideate a solution. So here you're going to work with your team to develop a solution to the problem from the problem that you decided on from session 1. So here in this place is where you'll create the deliverable, kind of like design your own structure or whatever you decide to do for the prompt, and then work on the presentation. Yeah, and then if you want to, again, like Arian said, if you're still curious about what ideation means, we're going to find out more at the ideation workshop at 11:15 a.m. So definitely try and come. And there you'll get a really good overview of both sessions and kind of like have a fun little challenge before the actual challenge starts. Yeah, and then our other main thing that's coming up soon is the keynote speech by Professor Danner from Princeton. So that's a quick background about him. He teaches courses in innovation and strategy and venture development at Berkeley and Princeton. And he's also a guest speaker in a lot of different schools. He's a senior moderator for the Aspen Institute. And he also anchors a lot of programs for UC's Center for Executive Education and other international schools where he works, again, on innovation and strategy development, et cetera. So we're really excited to hear from him.
Cool. I'm going to take over from here. We have about 15 minutes left until the keynote, and I don't have much to tell you. So we might just finish 10 minutes early, which is good for all of us. If you haven't had breakfast, highly recommend you to have breakfast. It's going to help you throughout the day. But a few logistical reminders before we get into the keynote. So the first thing is, if you're looking at your Hopin, on the left, you'll see a bunch of different tabs, and I will get into a bit more detail. If you've been on the reception area, you can like check out the how to use on Hopin. But towards the left, you'll see a bunch of tabs. One of them says Expo. So within Expo, we've got this one booth called the help desk, where someone from our NetStem team is going to be there to answer any questions you have. That's questions that you cannot easily resolve on the chat if you're not able to get someone. You can keep a track of our names somehow. You can connect with us, and then you can also personally message us if you have any questions. So Hopin has this chat function. There's also this people's function. If you go to people, you can search for someone specific. You could search for my name, Nastasia's name. You can message us one specific thing. If you have any questions, we could resolve that for you. But the best way to get like ASAP help available is to go to the Expo and then go to help desk. If you are unmatched, if you registered on Hopin really late, let's say last night or something, you probably don't have a team, because we start matching teams in the middle of this week, Wednesday or Thursday, and so on. So if you're unmatched, or if you don't have a mentor, if you're unsure what to do, but you're still here, go to the help desk and we will get you matched up with the team. Besides the Expo area, there's a bunch of other things. One of them is the stage where you're at right now. The other thing are sessions, which you will find out later on. So sessions are basically bunch of Zoom breakout rooms, essentially label a bunch of different things, and you can hop on from different sessions and so on. The idea is that each team has their own team session corresponding to the team name, and that's what you're going to use for all of your discussions. So go to your team session for all discussions that you have. And one last thing to highlight is the presentation. That's going to be a free-for-all presentations happening at 3 p.m. Each team is going to be limiting their presentations for 2 minutes. This is highlighted in the handbook, and we'll also read this further. But just want to make sure whenever you're working on something, make sure you don't just compile a bunch of stuff that goes over 2 minutes. The way presentation is working is that judges are going to move across team sessions, and you can also move to different team sessions. So it's a free-for-all move around. You can visit different sessions. You can check out what other teams have done. Once you're done presenting your own thing to your first judge, you can hop around, look at different people. Then the second judge is going to come back, and we'll share the schedule with you in terms of when people are presenting and doing what. But this is just a general outline of how presentations are going to be working. Cool. Few surprises at 10:50 a.m., which is right after the keynote. We have an event-wide Kahoot that's happening in parallel with the Q&A with Professor Danner, who's going to be leading a keynote in a few minutes. And the third thing happening at this time is an open networking session. So another one of the tabs on the left is networking. Networking is going to be open 10:15 to 11:15. We're also going to have a Kahoot 10:50 to 11:15, and you can also attend the Q&A. So whichever one you prefer, if you want to do multiple, like totally feel free to try out whatever you want. The second thing is watch out for event-wide gifts and mini prizes. We will be sprinkling them throughout. Could be as simple as whoever won the Kahoot or whoever asked the best question in the Q&A. But just keep an eye out. We're going to be looking for participation and creativity throughout the event, not just through like the prompts that we're asking, the deliverables we're asking you to make. And finally, interactors will also get a prize if the team wins. This is something completely surprising that we're implementing. So if you're an interactor, you have a personal stake in making sure your team wins. So yeah, just put an extra effort in making sure their presentations are rehearsed, they have a good deliverable, and they have a good prototype. Cool. Okay, final ask from you, and just you as in all of you, lead and take initiatives and take risks. This is a very risk-free platform. This is like a one-day virtual event. You will never probably have a chance to do something like this again, given that vaccinations are like almost coming out. So try to break the ice with your mentor and with your team. Try out as many different things as possible, because this is absolutely like a chance for you to experiment with different things on like a completely virtual scenario without like having any shame or anything like that. Try to play games, check out networking, attend the Q&A, and yeah, try to meet other people, connect with other people. Connecting also reminds me, go to profile if you haven't already filled out your Hopin profile, and fill out your profile info so you can network with other people. You can put in your socials, you can put in your LinkedIn link, and whenever you're within a networking, there's this button called connect, which just shares people's things with you. And after the event, you'll get a whole list of all the people you connected with so that you can follow up with them over email or over LinkedIn or whatever you want. And finally, I'm going to hold this link up for a few seconds. But if you want to open a new tab and quickly type in tinyurl.com/Y3L for TAAN, we have a very short demographic survey that we want to use to know whether we're catering to the right grades, whether we're catering to the right high school types of people, what subject people are taking. It's going to help us create our future events, because we really want to, this is essentially the first time that we're doing an event for high school students or students in general. So we want to see if our event is actually catering to the audience that we wanted to tackle. Cool. And one last thing, after this event, we will annoyingly email everyone to get some feedback, because we really thrive upon getting feedback so we can improve. So I am sorry for that in advance. Just we'll reply, we'll email you, just reply back to us. If it's a type form, fill out the type form. We just want to get feedback so we can improve and make our future events better. Thank you so much. Okay. And I'm going to do one final poll. So another quick poll is, who else hates how polls are suddenly a thing? And I was curious about this. Because I personally used to hate Zoom polls. I just didn't really get how polls are suddenly a thing. So we just want to like make a meta poll. There's a few second delay in broadcasting, so I'm going to wait a few seconds until poll results come in. And as a reminder, to get access to the poll, you want to go to event and then go to polls. And you can see the response only after you press. Okay, live results from the poll. Seems like 46% of you love polls. I'm not in those 46%. I am in the 18% that says there's too much decision making involved, because there is fluctuating. Everyone is now moving towards all of the above. Anyways, yeah. Don't worry if you're not one of the I love polls people. We will keep having more anyways to facilitate virtual engagement. And that's it for all of us. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. We have about 10 minutes left, so we're going to stop broadcasting, and you can hang over in the reception area, or you can check out the different sessions. You can also go to the expo. You can meet some people on the help desk, whatever you want. We're going to stick around the event chat. We're going to stop broadcasting in about 30 seconds. And if you have any questions, drop them either on the stage chat or the event chat, and we will try to get back to you as soon as possible.
And also, if anyone has any questions, just before we go on, just go on the reception and there's more information, or drop questions in the chat about how to use it. But yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to continue sharing this slide, but I'm going to turn off my video so I can help out people who are asking questions in the chat.
Yeah, me too. And Professor Danner will be on in about 8 minutes, so get excited.
Oh, I just want to quickly highlight. Someone said, so we had one of the chat questions, which was while listening in 2020. Someone said, while listening in 2020 was the Get Some Design Challenge. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. But this is 2021. But still, like, thank you so much for the love and support.